Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome back to Opus Magnum live with light. I'm starting up a little bit early, give people a chance to see the notification and get here. And in the meantime, I'm gonna practice some bass. Hey there, Flame Tusk. Welcome back. Where's my bot? There's my bot. Okay. Final Fantasy 14. Nice. Never played it myself, but heard it's pretty good. Watch it on your phone. Also nice. So, yeah, I'm going to be making a couple of puzzles today. I'm waiting for people to show up before I reveal what I would like the theme to be. Yep, overture indeed. 1.0 was apparently terrible, so they destroyed the whole world, redid everything. Oh my. Yeah, I'm really not used to playing up towards the tuning pegs. It's quite a reach for that minor third. I really enjoy that lick. It's on the blues scale, so you've just got the standard. They included one final cutscene. Absolutely amazing. That's good. Servers went down, cutscene trailer for 2.0, Realm Reborn played. Ah, I see. That's kind of fun. Okay, I suppose we should probably start playing the actual game now. Can turn the game music back on. I'm not in the game. There we go. Yeah, I noticed that some people were having Discord issues. Speaking of Discord, I did not post that we started. There we go. Okay. So we had a little bit of fun with the quintessence. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, fun with quintessence. So it's a fancy little element. Can do a couple of interesting things with it. And yes, given its name, it is, in fact, the fifth element. So let's head into the puzzle editor and just take a look. Okay, so unnamed custom puzzle. You can have 4 products, 4 reagents, and then you can check which things they're allowed to have. Fancy. So, I believe I would like to make a series of puzzles that work towards having a submarine. I think that would be fun. Having a series of puzzles that are thematically appropriate to having a time period inappropriate submersible device on which you could ride and, you know, not be dead. So, long-term undersea navigation. So, you need to be able to not be crushed by the depths. You need to be able to see where you're going. You need to be able to keep breathing. Being able to keep eating would also be a plus. I'm not entirely certain that's the way we're going to go, but it could be fun to have some sort of like algae or krill processing unit. Yeah. So, I would like to start with something that I'll likely need to pull up the internet to get references for. But I would like to start with the CO2 scrubber. Launch nukes, come on! Come on. It's not necessarily a death sub. We're explorers here, Asar. So we're going to start with a CO2 scrubber. Using our good friend, photosynthesis. So we'll start with the reagents because reagents aren't so bad. There must be an atom at the center of the board. So, photosynthesis. Standard thing. You take our good friend, water. And our good friend, CO2. Now, water is straightforward because we've had water before in the game. I want to keep it at least thematically linked to the game as much as I can. So we had water for the hangover cure. We had this representing our oxygen and these representing our hydrogens. So that's going to make it a little weird because when we go over to our CO2, we're going to be using water for the oxygens. But we need to decide on what to use for the carbon. And you've got some options because, I mean, carbon is a non-metallic sort of object, so you might think Earth, but the majority of flammable things have a significant amount of carbon in them, one way or another. And then we're going to save the air element for not, whatchamacallit, for not oxygen, but other gases. Like if we ever need like nitrogen, we'll use air for that. Quicksilver's metallic. We don't want to use anything metallic for carbon. And it already has a clear elemental purpose. We could use life, given our nature as being carbon-based life forms, but I don't know. That seems a little sketchy. So I was leaning towards fire, but I'm willing to take arguments from the peanut gallery. Like I was thinking we could use this as carbon dioxide and this as H2O, just our regular old water. I don't want to use 2 atoms because we're going to turn this into sugar, and we can't have our carbons being two atoms per carbon. That would just get absurd. Shouldn't oxygen be light? Well, you could say the same thing about carbon. You could say the same thing about nitrogen. There are so many things we need to stay alive. Hydrogen. Heck, hydrogen we need to stay alive. Oxygen, yes, you think it's the most abundant thing, but even in what you're breathing, oxygen isn't the dominant element. But the main reason I'm keeping the oxygen is because of the precedent set in the hangover cure for this being water. And yes, I do want to reserve life for higher level things or mystical things. Yeah, too much oxygen will kill you. But then again, you could say that about a lot of things. Hey, Dragon, you haven't missed a whole lot. We're going to work on puzzles for the sake of making a submarine. And we're currently debating carbon. Which element to use for carbon? I'm fairly well set for hydrogen and oxygen. Again, I want to keep the precedent set by the game itself. And the trouble with saying oxygen is fire is, yes, oxygen is necessary for fire, but you cannot burn oxygen itself. You're not going to create some self-oxidizing compound using just oxygen. Yeah, and that is a good point. Using the fire because of the fire water alcohol that we made in one of the other puzzles is also a pretty decent justification for using fire with carbon. Which part of what are we making now? Well, actually, I should open a web browser just to be absolutely certain of the various things that we're going to be making. CH2OH. I would have been short of hydrogen. Okay. Well, in the meantime, we can make our secondary product, which is oxygen. Well, actually, this should probably be... Well, no. We'll have the small product be second. Oh, it just puts it first. Really. So, we take water, we take carbon dioxide, we make regular old oxygen, and then we make glucose. So now we have the fun of trying to make glucose. Yeah. So, what we need is a carbon ring with an oxygen. Okay. Let me open up my reference again. CH2OH. So, coming off of one of these carbons, we have another carbon with 2 hydrogens and a... I forget what they're called. Is it a hydroxide? An OH thingy. So, we need another carbon coming off of this. We're going to have a bunch of hydrogens. And an oxygen. We can fiddle with this layout later, depending on how the rest of it looks. But we just need to know that we have a CH2OH coming off of one of the carbons next to the oxygen. Well, not all of the submarine parts really go together. Like, this is a machine for scrubbing the CO2. But I like where your head's at. Okay, so we've got our C6. We're gonna need quite a lot of things coming off of these carbons. So most likely we're gonna have to send like this. And so we have OH coming off of each of the carbons, I think. Each of the carbons. One of them is differently oriented, though. So we've got our oxygen, then the carbon, then HOH. Next we need OH. Oh, we don't have room. We actually might not be able to make glucose in the space we are given. Actually, we can. We just need to push the hydrogens out. Okay, now this one is reversed compared to this one. So instead of going like yeah, it's weird trying to picture all of this. Yeah, one heck of a product. This one should be the last part of that progression. Like you do the nice simple things first and then you end up here. Okay, so, right. Carbon off of this one. Standard layout for this one. Reversed layout for this one. Basically life support? Yes. This is to make sure you can keep breathing. Okay. So then, standard layout. Standard layout. And then, okay. What do we have coming off of that oxygen? Nothing. So this should be done. Let's double check that we have the right number of things. Salt stabilized stuff, you guess? Something like that, yeah. Too complex for small. It's okay. That's why it's the final puzzle. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. C6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ooh. Let's double count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We are missing a hydrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're good on the carbon. We're good on the oxygen. We are missing one hydrogen somewhere. So we've got 3 here. Let me actually open up one of these images. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, there's another one here. Right here. So we need one last one in the middle. Yikes. Can I just pick it all up and move it? Because now it's off-centered and it really bugs me. Okay, so let's save that. Let's make it better this time. Here. 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 We needed one extra carbon there. Here, here, here. Here. Here, here, here. There. There. And that should be 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. We need that complete ring. We need to bond this here, that to that carbon, carbon to these like that, this and that, this with that, this with that, and we're done. Glucose. So we save this one. We get rid of the other one that's off-centered. And take a look at this and see if there's anything else that would be helpful for this in the final production step. First, we want to put this like that, such that all of these are rotating in the same general direction. That'll help people when they're actually solving it. Keeping all of these rotationally standard. Having this one a little bit reversed is going to cause people trouble because they're going to want to just rotate the thing, and it's just not going to work for them. Other than that, I think it's pretty good. It gives you the sense that carbons have 4 bonds. it gives you the sense that oxygens have 2 and that hydrogens just have 1. It is a big, nasty product. But if it's good enough for plants, it's good enough for us. And so you need to produce 6 of these each to produce 1 of these and 6 of those. So it's mostly going to be that you have a bunch of water going into making this, and then you just steal the carbon to put in the middle, and then send the rest of, like, just take the oxygens from that, bind them back together, and you're on your way. Bet Alchemist hated biochem. I would imagine so. Like, this, flattening it down like this also is not how it would work, because you'd have this ring and all of these other things would be coming up and down off of the ring, not out away from it. And so it would likely be easier to process when the carbon is just in the middle and all the watery bits are above and below. Okay, so do we want to give them anything else that they can use? Because the glyph of calcification is not necessary and is actually inadvisable. Just wish you knew more of the thematics of the game. Yeah, I have spent quite a bit of time with a lot of the puzzles to get a feel for what they aim for. So I'm actually going to turn off the glyph of calcification. So you just get bonding, super bonding, and unbonding. No disposal, no Van Barlow's wheel. Which one is the glyph of purification? Is that the... Is that the... just the marker thingy? Yeah, some of the elements are just purely symbolic. But other ones did kind of have actual elemental type stuff. Oh, right. Purification is lead plus lead equals tin. Thank you. Thank you. Dubtoff64 and Daniel Zawadsky. Yes, that's purification. Yeah, because projection's the one with Quicksilver. Purification is the one without. Disposal is the disposal. There are 2 glyphs of quintessence because you have to be able to go both ways, apparently. Animismus is life and death. Van Barlow's wheel, we know. Triplex bonding, we're not going to use. And the glyph duplication. Well, we could do triplex bonding on the carbons if they were multiplicatively bonded, or if we wanted to really indicate that this has serious power, but I don't think glucose really counts as the explosive power that triplex bonding implies. I really don't. I think this is really what we're aiming for with this puzzle. But like any good maker game, you have to solve it before you can upload it. So we're going to have to try to figure out how to actually make this thing work. How to make this monstrosity out of these 2 inputs. And a little bit of that. And not only do we need to get this carbon in a ring, but also get the salt inside and not bond it more than we should. So, while doing water for these looks slightly desirable. It might even be better to slice off this half of the carbon dioxide and put it here on the outsides, such that we get a slightly larger thing right off the get-go, and then use the salt from the water to do the rest of the salting. So strip off these salts, attach the oxygen from this one to that one, and drop it in here. Yes, this puzzle is the final boss. By far. A nitrogen triple blonde. Nitroglycerin gets its punch. Good deal. We'll have to keep that in mind if we ever have something with nitrogen in it. Another thing the sub will need is a gyroscope. Probably. That's actually a good idea. Having a gyroscope such that you can measure your declination and whatnot. Yeah, it's a good call. I like that. I'm not entirely certain molecular level gyroscopy, is that a word, is necessary, but it still might be fun. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to slice this guy to get one of these oxygens, slice this guy twice to get the other oxygen, and then dump that part in the bin. So this guy should probably start over here. It'll get passed along. Yeah. Yay, mixer. Okay. And this guy can start. I don't know. Like so? Okay. So let's grab our splitter and our binder. And put this like that. This is insane. It's only a little insane. We are not going for fast. We're just going for successful at this point. So number one is going to grab it, move 2 to the left, and reset. Well, the thing is that the crystals are microscopic structures. Like every crystal is a microscopic structure. It just happens to have microscopic or macroscopic features. Potions, also, it's a chemical concoction. At the very small level, you've got a thing that you made. You just have a whole lot of it. Please no on optimization on this. Yeah. I was definitely going for reinforced glass such that you can see things. Most likely a corrosion-proof plating for the outside, whether stainless steel or some other fancy coated metal. Yeah, stuff like that. We're making products, and this tiny little scrubber, you would have lots of them doing plant-like things. Okay. So, now we need to slice this guy twice and then get the oxygen to here. Yeah, probably steal from iron, carbon, and oxygen. Oxygen? Why oxygen? I don't know. Because the purpose of the heat is to do the crystallization. And so you don't actually need the heat if you're doing it at nanobot levels. Quack, quack, quack. Daniel Zawadsky, thank you for accepting my duck. That's the beauty of using nanotechnology, is that you can do things that you used to do using annealing type processes. But you don't need the heat or the cooling. You just build it that way. Hey, Green Crew Dragon, welcome back. Okay, so we need to slice and then slice again and then drop right here. So, how do we grab this thing? Probably with a fairly sizable arm. From here, maybe? No, because we need to do 2 slices. So from here. And we slice here. And then we slice here, and then we drop it. Yeah, depending on how we want it to, how typical we want it to be, we could have impurities in the steel, because having it be impure does impart certain useful properties. Did you say hi twice? You might have, or my bot might have just seen it twice in weird ways. Oh, right. This is not right. Okay. And then we just need a thing to push it in. Brilliant. So, from that, we created our carbon and oxygen that'll go like this, and like that, and like this, and like that, and like this, and like that. And we created the 2 random hydrogens that'll get shoved in the middle and all around the outsides. So that's pretty good. Now we just need to get these into position and have enough arm things to make it do everything we need it to. And yeah, it is really quite beautiful. And that's what I love about natural processes like these, that if you take a really hard look at them, they make a boatload of sense. Dubtuff, the reason that I'm slicing both of the salts off of this oxygen is because every carbon is bonded to an oxygen. Every single one of them. Whereas the salts are sometimes oxygen, sometimes carbon. So we're going to build all of the blue and red part in a fairly straightforward way, I guess. Maybe. Who knows? And then we're going to add the salts. Maybe we're going to add the salts later. We still don't know what it's going to be like even working with a product this size. Like, it's going to be a little crazy regardless. Amorphous steel. Quite possibly. Okay, so how do we make this work? So we need to transport our salts over here somewhere. So let's use this guy to get it over here. And then we'll bring this guy over here. Nightmare molecule, a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to need a couple of arms in here that have some flexibility. Pistons, tracks, stuff like that. So I'm thinking we should bring this guy down here, such that we have both salts in a reasonable location. Okay, so salt number 2 here. What number are you? Number 4. Yeah, we'll just leave that. So 4. Yeah, let's wait until we've finished making the oxygen before we send these on their way. 5 does the same thing. And then 6 grabs it and sends it on its way. Okay. Gluten's more of a mess. I believe it. If you ever get the game, play this puzzle. Probably try approaching it by just sending the carbon to the exit and using the 2 oxygen in the CO. That does seem like an alternate solution that we could make. Like having a easy mode of this puzzle where it's just water and carbon dioxide and you produce air and the rest goes in the garbage. And then see how, like, because you could create oxygen faster with these 2, because you could just grab this and chuck it in the bin and you produce 3 every 2. And so, yeah, you could actually produce oxygen faster than if you made the salt or the sugar along with it. So, yeah, we could make after this just a plain old CO2 scrubber. But I mean, for a CO2 scrubber, you don't even need the water. You just slice out the fire and chuck it in the disposal. Oh, we can't do it like that. Right. And we can't do it like this because it would be in the way over here. Gliadin is C29H41N709. Ugh. Let's see. If we had a guy here, we could move it down here. Is that better? Yeah, and the glucose could be used for, you know, feeding us, kind of. Right. Can't have this here. Can't put anything anywhere. Fine. So what we're going to do is just do this earlier. Too early. Wrong way. And we just move this a little bit later. Everything will be fine. Brilliant. Now they're all in line. So now we just have to start a assembly area here with a bunch of arms, a couple of bonders. Hopefully in a way that will not lead to serious issues. Yeah, links cause trouble with my bot, so if you're not on Mixer, you'll have some issues with that link. Okay, so we've got this thing. I'm thinking we should start by bonding this hydrogen in the middle to this guy. So having the bonder be maybe here? Such that we've got some room to maneuver. And And so we'll need something up here to be able to grab these guys and move things around. But it should probably also have access to the bonder. So I'm going to put the bonder here. But then the thing might get too big, and we wouldn't be able to bond things anymore. How much is its radius? 3 and a thing? It might be a little too big, so let's move it down one more, and then we can't reach it with a piston. I think we'll start it here. And then we'll have a track down here for other manipulation type purposes. So this will be our primary assembly piston. This will be our secondary positioning piston. We could probably get away with just using 7 for the vast majority of this, I would expect. Gonna tune out for a bit, less interested in watching the solutions being built. I totally get that. This'll take a little bit, because I do want to be able to upload them. Ethanol's pretty simple. It's not hugely complicated. Okay, so 7 is going to grab it, and it's going to put it here. So rotate 2 to the left, pointing this way, move over 1, push out twice, and drop. Then we're going to have the thing here. So we're currently pointing that way. All we have to do is rotate back to the right, grab the thing. But unfortunately, we don't want to bond the blue to it. So we actually want to move 1 to the minus and grab it here. Rotate the thing itself that way, and then shift 1, 2, 3 places to the plus. We're probably not gonna release it yet. So after we have this part, I'm thinking we start building this part, such that we don't have to deal with that later. So we'll need to move one of the hydrogens out of the way into storage. So we are currently facing that way, so we rotate to the right. We're currently here, extended to there. So we move 2 to the minus. Actually, let's move more than that. Grab it. Wait, we need to be at least 2 long. We are currently at the 0, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Something like that. And we move it out of the way. Let's see what that does. Oh, forgot about the reset. No resets. Do the ratios work out? Of course they do. C6H12O6 112. We need to move one further. Grab it. Pull it. And do that. Okay. Okay. We also want to shift it over one. So before we drop, we want to move one further, and then after we drop, we move back. Okay. Now we generate more inputs, and we attach this part. Yep, 6 times more oxygen than the glucose. That is entirely true. Which, unfortunately, this in the product count will max out prior to the glucose. So you'll keep dumping things in, but they won't count for anything. Which is unfortunate, but necessary. Okay. So we take these top ones and we repeat them starting here. Unfortunately, we do need to get the timings right. I think it's like that. And yeah, let's just put the clock out here somewhere. Okay. Perfect. So now we've got our next set. And so we take this, turn it around, slap it on there. Okay, so how did we get to that? We were facing this way. So we turn left 2, move plus 1, go out 2, then we grab it, we rotate it 3 times, and then move 1 more to the plus to attach it. So that'll have a carbon here, an oxygen here. We're going to need to move it over and rotate it once. So we, which one are we holding? We are holding the water. So we shift it, we drop it. Stellated hexahedron, welcome back. Okay, so the fire on the lower right of the ring could be a unit that's identical to 3 of the other fires in the ring, but it's diamond-shaped instead of V-shaped. I'm not entirely certain what you mean, because this part right here is different from these. Because these 3 are identical. But this one is backwards. And for good reason. Where was I? Right. Push, push, drop, push, grab, rotate, drop. Where's my drop? There's my drop. Okay. So I'm right here holding that there. So we'll pull back 2. Rotate 1, 2 to the right. Move in the minus direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab that hydrogen. Rotate it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then push it 1, 2. And then drop it. Let's make sure this does... right, we can fast forward. Control, click. And it put it in the wrong place. 1, 2, 3, not 4. Okay, is that correct? That is this one. Then we come back and we rotate it again. But that would cause a little trouble getting the hydrogen in there, but not too much. We'll be able to slide it in. It'll be fine. Okay, so we release, plus, grab, rotate, release. Back in, then go to the right 2, and then grab it. Go to the left 1, push it out 2, and then slide it in 3. Only 2 other workshop entries dealing with sugar. The artificial sweetener is a beast as well, I would imagine. What? No. I thought I put the clock out far enough. I was wrong. What does the single hex weird symbol thing do? This guy right here, it's just a marker. It's just a thing that helps me be certain of where things are going. It doesn't cost anything. It uses up area, but you're going to use it up anyway. And welcome to the stream, Squib. Thanks for being here. I missed! How did I miss? Drag, rotate, rotate. Ah, I didn't push. Watch the videos, noticed I was streaming, so you dropped in? Awesome! We are making ourselves a puzzle! It's a beast of a puzzle, but it's a puzzle. Love my solutions? Well, I'm glad you like them. Okay, so we have made this part. We just need to rotate it back to get to this. What's the good reason? Because if you look at the actual structure of actual glucose, the carbon that is opposite the oxygen in this ring has the I forget the name of this structure, but the oxygen with a hydrogen on the opposite side of the ring from the others. That's pretty cool. Okay. What we're gonna do now is we've already dropped it, so we're gonna go plus, grab, and then rotate it. We want the blue to be on the binder, such that we can grab it and rotate it. So we're gonna rotate it 2 to the right. We're gonna drop it, go over and grab that. And then we're gonna want... Well, we're going to shift it over 1. And then, so we'll have the blue and the red. We're going to have the blue and the red, but we're going to want the red here, so we're going to need to rotate it to, I think, to the right. Yes, I believe that is where we want that hydrogen. So then we pull back in, we rotate 1 to the right. We're here, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want to pull in twice because it's 1 farther away. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab this hydrogen. And then we're going to left, out, left. Should do it. And there we are. We've got that entire branch over here completed. Unfortunately, that's going to make it real difficult to put this hydrogen in. So we're probably going to want to move this entire thing out of the way and then build this piece in its entirety and then snap that on as a whole unit. I'm pretty sure that's the way to go with that, is to build this part and then snap it in all at once. Yeah, I think that's going to be the way to go. So we'll take this and we'll move it pretty far out of the way. Where's my clock? Keep moving, clock. We're nowhere near done yet. We don't want to drop it, though. So we're going to be holding it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go 6 just for good measure, and then drop it out there. Brilliant! Okay, now we need to construct this. So we do all these things again. We need to look at the timing. I think it's 3 and then 2 back 2. Yeah. So 3, 2 back 2. Okay. Pull this guy back. We attach. Well, we'll probably set this guy up first. Probably want to attach that last because this will stay relatively in that position for the final binding situation. Yeah, because we're gonna have to rotate this like that, and so we're gonna need to bring this in, probably using something down here to drag it in that direction. We'll reposition this guy such that we can. Well, no, actually, because we'll be able to set this guy up and then pull this guy from the side. So we'll be able to use that arm, no problem. Speaking about the clock, anyone got an idea about the theoretical minimum cycles? Whew. It's a big question. Do you mean for this problem or in general? Okay, so we want it to end up in this position, so we'll bind this salt last. So first, we're going to bind this part to that. So we've got that there, which means we need to pull it over and then rotate it too. This guy's all the way over here, pointing down that way. So we'll pull in. Actually, no, you don't need to pull in because you're going to be at that length regardless. we just move to the right. So instead of pointing that way, we're pointing this way. And we move back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 or 6. Which one do we want to grab? We're attaching to the red, so we want to go all the way back. Grab it. We're going to bring it back. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then rotate it around. Okay. Good. Then we release that, pull in, rotate to the right. We're moving 1, 2, 3, 4. We're grabbing left, left, push, push. Mostly for this one, yeah, that's hard to imagine. Because if you can do it asymptotically optimal, it only takes 6 products. Or 6 inputs to make this thing. But it makes 1 of these. So it's 6 inputs per... and then 6 products. So that's 36 inputs that you need to generate. Which means it's 72 cycles absolute minimum. But then with the processing necessary, probably around 80 minimum? Like absolute minimum, somewhere around 80. That's the lowest bound you're ever going to hope for. Okay, so we're going to rotate it twice. And then shift it over 1. And then drop it. And then we're going to rotate back to the right, pull in 1, grab the thing. Wait, we probably needed to move twice because the oxygen's going to be too far off. So we'll be here. So we need to move back 2. Grab the thing, rotate twice, push it out once. Well, it's really hard to calculate the true minimal cycles, and even getting an estimate of like a lower bound is still a little sketchy. Some really neat workshop puzzles and sometimes even more amazing solutions. That's cool. I haven't actually gotten to look at any of the workshop solutions. Okay, so you're saying that we need... you don't need to worry about the 2 times 6. Because you're by no means bottlenecked by the oxygen production. You are only bottlenecked by the glucose. To make the glucose, you need 6 productions from each of these 2 things. So that's 6 productions per glucose. 6 glucose is 36 productions times 2 cycles per production is 72 cycles. Just to produce the inputs. Then how much you need to process them while it's going. You need to slice minimum of twice, bond once, so that's 3, so 75. you get 6 product points for glucose, and you get 6 product points for oxygen. So once you've done 6 oxygens, none of the rest count. And then you just wait on the other 5 glucose. And so what you need is the carbon from here and the hydrogens from here, 6 of these, and then 6 pairs of these. So that's where your bottleneck is. And I've lost track of where I was in my solution. Oh, problem. We bonded a thing we weren't supposed to. That happened here. So we need to pull it back, then move it. Pull it back here, because we did need to bind part of it. And then push it back out. Yeah, then you add... Oh, that was the problem, not this. So... Here? So yeah, my lower bound estimate is just... If somehow magically you can get it to do exactly what you want. And not worry about... Okay, here, it was the right place. I just did it at the wrong time. Pull, push, push, push. Because it's hard to imagine being able to lay out everything such that it can be bonded and cut and fiddled about with optimally in a way that you can then just produce, cut, and bond the last bit and just dump it in the bin. So that's a lower bound that you know you can't go any lower. If you get there, you're optimal. But trying to get down to that 75, it's unimaginable. Okay, so we've got this part here. We just need to pull it up to and over 1, which means we don't want to do it from here. We'll pull it up to, release it, which means it's here. So we move over 2, rotate to the right, grab it, and shift it over 1. I love this fast forward feature. It is so nice. So we don't have to work on this puzzle all night. Actually, we're going to need to push it back. So really what we wanted to do was not rotate. We just wanted to push over 1, grab it, and pull it, then push it. Pretty sure that's what I meant to do. And there we are. Now we go over here, grab this guy, and shift it back into place. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Push out, grab it. We'll have it by the hydrogen. We want to pull it towards us. Let's see, 2 spaces. And we want to move over 1, drop it. Wait, no. I'm not sure we even need to drop it, because we'll have it here, and we need to move that bit here. So we move it 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. Yep, having the food source is pretty nice. Just being able to make your own glucose is a nice deal. And there we are. We have that bit. Machina synthesis. Possibly. It's a reagent over on the right that you didn't realize was there. What? Because here's a product. Here are the reagents. So product, reagent. Yeah, Machina synthesis might be good. Right, we need to move this guy back out of the way. I'm gonna get rid of this guy because I don't think we're gonna need it. Over on the left, yeah, we've got water and we've got carbon dioxide. Okay, so we've got the thing here. Let's move it back out. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't need to put it far away, I don't think. And once again, we need to move the clock into the distant future. And while we're doing that, we produce our next set of things. Which again, we're gonna build into a piece and then attach it to what we have. Actually, before we drop this, I'm gonna rotate it and push it out. Said turning lead and gold was hard. Making common sugar proved to be even more involved than expected. Yeah, that is quite true. Okay, so this is now set up for the next part. It's gonna slide straight in and attach to... let's rotate it again. It's gonna attach to this. Yep. So, once again, we've got fire and water here, so our carbon and oxygen. It's not entirely clear which one we should bind first, so I'm going to bind to the oxygen first, drag it over, and then rotate it out. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. What kind of power source will it have? I don't know, actually. I haven't really decided what our ship should be powered by, but given that it's a steampunk world, probably steam. I think all of these things are driven by steam. Right. We actually don't want it that way. We want it this way. We don't need to pull it in because we are grabbing the things that are far away again. We don't want to grab by the fire. We want to grab by the water. And so we pull it 1, 2, 3. And then rotate it out. Drop. Rotate to the right. Pull in. I don't know. We don't pull in. Nope. Wrong thing. We don't pull in. We're... here? Yeah. And so we'll be facing this way here. So we move 1, 2. 1, 2. Grab the thing. Swing it down and move 1 to the plus. Ooh, you should have the be like Gills collects the water from outside, use it to turn CO2 into oxygen and glucose. That is exactly what it's going to do. That is pretty much exactly the point of this device. That we are making our sub basically like any sort of aquatic plant. Okay, so that'll have a salt. Wait a minute. Our thing is facing the wrong direction. It's facing this way. We need to move it to here? Yeah, we need to move it just one more. Oops. I missed. Okay. 2000 weeks under the sea was formed of nuclear power? My goodness. Mortis in some sort of metal. Could be interesting. Okay, so that's this part. And then the next part is parallel. So we drop it, we move over here, grab it, and pull it. So, yeah. Drop it, move 1, 2. We're here. 1, 2, and then to the left. Grab, pull, drop. Story was ahead of its time. That is true. Okie doke. So we are here. Length 2. Turn to the right. Push. Grab to the left. I think. Yeah. We'll put it here. And then 1, 2. And we'll have this. And then we just need to rotate it. So we let go. We move 1. We grab. We rotate. We release. That means we are here. Then we come over to here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. Grab that and move it back. Let's see whether or not this actually turned out the way I planned. Whoa, what just happened? Did it not grab the thing I meant for it to grab? Oh, I didn't turn it far enough. Interesting. Chunk, chunk. Shift. Oh, I did not realize it was there. And we need to shift it over 1 such that it can bond. So minus drop here. The thing is here. So swing back, move 1. swing back, move one, grab it. Oh, right, we do need to rotate it, though. Right. So we do... Yeah, we bring it back. We shift by one, grab it and rotate it and drop it. And then, instead of moving 3, we turn to the right and move 1. Or turn counterclockwise, yeah. Oh, even better power source isn't nuclear. Dang adaptations. In the original, uses sodium mercury batteries, the sodium provided by extracting it from the seawater. Brilliant. Okay, so pull it, release it, move, grab, rotate, release, move, grab, slide, 2, 3. Brilliant! We've got this part settled. Okay, so I actually want to grab it by this part. So I'm gonna release, move 1 further, grab it, push it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and rotate it again. Yep, good old Quicksilver. Okay, so that's good. And there we are. Rotate it again. We just built this part here. We've got more than half of it done. We just need 2 more segments like this. And we've built several of those, so this should not take long. Okay, while it's doing that, we can do these again. And once more, we move to the right. We come back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We grab the thing. We bring it back. 1, 2, 3. And then we rotate it. Wait a minute. We have it by the water. We don't want it by the water. We want it by the fire. Because we want to do this one first. So fire. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we rotate it. One, 2. From here, 1, 2. We release. We are still this way. So we rotate to the right. 1, 2. Grab. Swing to the left. Plus. Snaps it into place. We pull it towards us 1, such that we don't accidentally bind it again. Let's see. Rotate it twice to the right. 1, 2. And then shift, shift. We'll have it here. Shift, shift. No. Yes. Shift, shift, push. Release. rotate twice, and we'll be here. So we need to bring back one, grab it, left, plus, snaps into place here, and then we pull it once. Wait a minute, no. We are here. So we're here. So if we pull it once, we're gonna need to move it twice. Which will have it here, ready to go. And I'm here. So now we release, we move, we rotate to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kick out one. We grab it. And then we pull it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, I missed the thing. We drop it. We move one more and grab it. We move out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we rotate it. Grab our clock thing. Move it out even further. Okay. Here's hoping it works. Oh, we missed. We missed. That's what I get for trying to just eyeball it and not test it. But we're so far along in the thing. Even in fast forward mode, it takes forever. Yeah, I think we rotated the arm in the wrong direction at some point. Probably, I don't know. That was good. Grab it, move it to the left. Good. Rotate, rotate. Plus, push. Good. Now we rotate in that direction just once. And then move back 1, 2, 3. Not sure how I got that one that wrong. But okay. I apparently thought my arm was somewhere that it very much was not. And once again, didn't move it quite far enough. There we are. Pull, shift, shift, release. Shift, 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 shift. And then we're going to bring it on back and rotate it one more time. Okay, so we need to find the point at which we start building that thing again. And that's right about here. So, we release this guy. Right about here. We'll build the things again. And then we start here. And highlight all of this. Wait a minute, why is it? It doesn't work anymore. Curse you thing not working anymore. Gah. I can't flood some water with Vitalomen's way to keep people alive in the, because that was working before, but doesn't seem to be working anymore. So, what we're actually going to do is we're going to highlight just how much we can see over to the minus grab. And we're going to copy that much. So we got to the minus grab. Now we grab this part. And we only need to there. We can get rid of the clock because this will be the end. Okay. So, we will be holding it like this. And so we will have it by this part right here. And all we have to do is go +2 and drop. Oh, forgot. We have one last bond that we didn't do. Okay, so we did forget one bond. So we've got that. We need to release it, move one further, grab it, shift it, rotate it. And that will get us our last bond on this water here. Then we rotate it back, we move it one more, and then we reset. Because it is a full ring in the middle there. And there we go. We have successfully fabricated glucose. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a lot of cycles. Yeah, now all the other things are going to be real easy. Relatively speaking. The glass, maybe, maybe not, depending on how we decide to make the reinforced glass. Whether or not we use lead or iron or whatever. But yeah, making the whole construction design with just a piston and a track, it is pretty fun. Like, I like that part a lot. It's going to be real difficult to make a cheaper solution than this. Not impossible, by any stretch. Whew! My machine has successfully created the desired product. Histograms and leaderboards are not available for custom puzzles. Whew. I'm not going to record a GIF because 2191 is my new record and 1799 is already a problem. So, yeah. Let's rename this solution Assembly Platform. Possibly Earth in the water to represent issues. It might be that there's just too much salt as well. And so you need to unbind that and throw it somewhere else. I would like to write some story fluff to go along with the whole series of puzzles for completing a submarine. Yes. I'm not going to do it tonight, but I would like to do it. I don't know if I'll include it in any sort of Anateus type thing, or if we want to make a separate Nemo type story. Yeah, after we know all of the different things we're going to have, then we can think of a nice order for them to go in story-wise and difficulty-wise. But yeah, 265, 2191, 141. That's a nice, easy benchmark for people who love optimization to try to push their way past, because there's not going to be a problem optimizing past this in some way or another. There were more arms than there needed to be cost-wise. You could probably get away with less track. You can almost definitely get away with less area. And then speed, my goodness, there's probably tons of ways to optimize the speed, but goodness knows what you really need to do to optimize that. Because you know how I was saying the absolute minimum is around 80? And this took 2191. Yeah. Okay, so we have a functional photosynthesis puzzle. Whew. Okay, so the issue with steel is other people have already done workshop items with things with steel. So if we do make steel, it would likely need to be gonna have people make things with the glucose. I don't know yet. I mean, this is a nasty molecule to work with, but it's possible. Like, we might be able to look into how the body actually processes glucose into ATP and other energy producing type stuff, and then represent that in the game as well, and like work towards building an android that actually takes in food for its power. Or, I mean, even for the sub. Like, we could have the glucose be the power supply for the sub. Have it be essentially a living machine. I still don't know what's powering the stupid machine to be able to even do any of this, but that's a whole other thing. So yes, we'll probably look into using this to generate energy later. But we'd like... Okay, so let's think about the things that we're going to need, because I don't know if we're going to be able to even do another full puzzle in the next 18 minutes, given how long this one took. But let's think about what we need. So we need some sort of non-corroding metal for the hull, whether it has a protective coating or is stainless steel or amorphic steel or any other sort of steel is up for debate. Yeah, we can design them and then not solve them yet. That's absolutely fine. We need some sort of highly pressure resistant glass, whether it's lead crystal glass or some other sort, but we also might want to consider other properties that we want for it. So if we want it to be super strong, we might actually want to go away from it being silicate and have it be some other blank glass. So we could try making transparent iron, transparent tin, whatever we want from that front, instead of using earth as the silicon in the silicate part of the glass. Transparent steel could be fun. I'm not entirely certain how we'd represent that, but we can certainly consider it. Yeah, that could be pretty fun. So we might go with transparent steel for the glass. We'll probably want a corrosion-resistant coating. Oh, empty space for transparency. Always go with empty space, because no matter how much empty space you've got at the nano level, nothing's getting through that. Maybe steal something from the transparent aluminum formula. I'd have to get that movie out and just, like, zoom way in on the screen to see what he even has in there for the transparent aluminum. Hello, computer. I was also thinking that the transparent whatnot should be an infinite product. Stuff is effectively real. Awesome. Okay, so the product. So we want to make some sort of silicate lattice. So it's going to have a bunch of oxygens. If we add extra space, it can't be larger than the water molecules. So if we add extra space, it needs to be smaller than 3 of these. Because we could make a sort of ferro, like an iron oxide sort of lattice. I don't know if we can add more than one infinite exit, though. Well, we'll see. So it doesn't need to be ferric all the time. Like, we could have a ferrosilicate lattice, sort of like this. Do we want more ferro or more silicate? Oh, right. And there has to be an atom on the center of the board. As always. And for the sake of it being transparent, I think we need a larger gap. So I'm thinking a little something like this. Whoops. It's so hard to put in the bonds properly. I'm thinking something like this, where you're given iron, you're given oxygen, and you're given sand. And you need to make ferrosilicate thread. Because we don't want them all to be crazy. We want some of them to be relatively nice. Let's not give them iron. Let's give them tin. What does the triple bonder effectively do? We were commenting on that before, that it's essentially for triple bonded nitrogen, like in nitroglycerin sorts of situations. So yeah, this is sand, this is tin, and this is oxygen. The problem with the strong bonds is that if they somehow break, like in nitroglycerin, it is devastating. So yeah, I think this one's good for just being a nice, relatively simple thing to make. It has a little bit of complication in needing to purify the tin. And being able to split these and get them to where they need to go. The bottleneck will be the tin, so I'm thinking maybe give them 2 tins. Yeah, I'm thinking give them 2 tins. Well, the bonded tin would be really annoying, because then they would need to... They need to unbond it before they can use it, and it's already the bottleneck. There's no sense making it that much worse. I mean, maybe giving them iron ore? I mean, giving them iron ore might be good. They have to process the iron to be able to use it. That could be good. Let's go check that out. That's here. Okay, so bonded like that, and then all the way around. Okay. Okay, so you give them iron and salt, and then bond it like this and all the way around. Oops, forgot to save it. It's the problem with this mode. You have to hit the save button. You can't just close it. Okay. What do you do with the salts? You destroy them, or we give him Van Barlow's wheel, but I don't want to give him Van Barlow's wheel. It's really annoying. Planning on sending it to the journal just for the workshop? I don't know. I like making my own story things. I'll certainly put them in the workshop. I wouldn't mind sending it to the journal, but I want to get all of them together before that. So yeah, the salt will either be chucked in the disposal, or we could give him Van Barlow's wheel and have them use that to turn them into something. Yes, the journal. So we've had several issues of the journal so far, 4 of them. This first one came with the game, and then people submitted things to the workshop and said, hey, this one's pretty awesome. And so they grabbed some from various people that seemed appropriate for seafaring, some that seemed appropriate for House Colvin, their secret things they make. And then they came up with the quintessence, so we made some problems with quintessence. Your lubricant made it in? Where's the lubricant? Spyglass, sailcloth, salt, buoyant cable, salve, wheel. Lubricating filament. This one looks really pretty, though, Shadow Cluster. That's awesome. And I like your name. It's pretty awesome. S Cluster. That is really gorgeous, though. The contrast of the waters and the tins. I like that a lot. Okay, so here we are. We've got iron ore, oxygen from the world, and we've got sand. So with sand, iron ore, oxygen from everywhere, make a ferrosilicate thread. More ferro than silicate, and you'd still likely need to melt it down to be able to make it into actual glass. You might need... I'm trying to remember what they're called. Formers and stabilizers. It's probably plenty stable. You likely need the former to help it melt. So yes, now you've got extra iron, but it takes more time to process it, which is good. So you'll have to balance out the processing time of this iron with the fact that you get so much of it. Destiny 2. Enjoy, Flame Tusk. Thanks for being here. So yes, we've got twice as much iron per production here, but I think that's okay. Because it'll take time to pull this out and process it, so having this pull half as often as the others is probably for the best. You can't submit a series of puzzles necessarily, and I don't mind if just one of these gets into the journal. I'll still have my own presence for it to be a consistent story, and if it doesn't make it into the game as a consistent story, I really don't care. Yeah, 2-2-1 is not nearly as bad as like the 5-7s that we've had. 5-7s, 3s-5s. Heaven forbid someone do an 11-13. But yeah, I want this one to be relatively straightforward. We've worked with this sort of ore processing before, so you'll have an advantage in processing the ore. We've worked with something of this shape, and it's fairly friendly as far as that goes. And you don't have to construct the sand, which will make this easier than several of the threading puzzles. So the real consideration will be, do you use the oxygen, try to split it and get it on the top and the bottom? Or do you just use this and chuck the earth into the bin? Because you don't have to use all of the inputs. It'll give people an option of, well, which way really will get the job done better? It'll probably be splitting this and getting it to the top and the bottom if you really want to go fast. But some people might not want to do it that way, and they leave out the oxygen. They just use the sand and the ore. Now, Imagine you're finding a bunch of stuff from slag. The main reagent would just be a random collection of metals and elements bonded randomly take up the entire board. I wanted to write stuff up. I'm glad I can be an inspiration. I'm always happy to get people thinking and working and whatnot. Okay, so we rename this ferrosilicate glass until we come up with a better name for it. Who else here plays? Mac just watches. Dragon just watches. I think Flame Tusk has a copy. I know Win has a copy. I imagine quite a few of the lurkers over on YouTube own the game. Oh, we're going to give them the Glyph of Disposal. They don't need projection or purification or duplication. Give them the option of multiple bonding. We'll give them regular bonding. Heck, we'll give them no, don't give them calcification. They don't need it. Actually, I'm going to give him Van Berlo's Wheel and the Glyph of Duplication. I would love to see somebody pull something off using Van Berlo's Wheel and the Glyph of Duplication. I would love to see what people are able to do with it. I'm not going to do it, but I think it would be cool. What really bugs me is that you can only get one Van Berlo's Wheel. I was hoping that in here we would be able to set how many of Van Berlo's Wheel you could get, like limited one or unlimited, such that you could have 2 of them. Like, I'm not saying tons, but just a second one. It'd be so nice if you could just get that second one. So yeah, multiple approaches to this one. I'm good with that. Photosynthesis is completed. I love that. I'll need to make a video on these eventually. I don't know if I want to do them individually and then do another video on the story. I think I might. I think I might do a video on each of these puzzles separately and then do one that binds them all together. So put this out there as a challenge to my viewers. Do a better job than me. Because I'm sure there are people out there that'll make something that's significantly better than my 2191. And there's my alarm. 8:30 rolls around quick when you're trying to do these giant puzzles. So yeah, we got a nice ferrosilicate glass thread sort of thing. It's watertight because this gap is smaller than the water. Going forward, we're going to need some sort of power supply, whether it consumes glucose or not. We're going to need an outer coating, whether it's some sort of steel or coating to prevent corrosion. And I would like to have a 5th thing. I would like to have 5 puzzles in some sort of difficulty order. So hopefully, I hate to say it like that, but hopefully the processing of glucose for a power source would be more complicated than making the glucose. I don't know how that would happen, but it does seem possible. But actually, I don't really know what the breaking down of glucose acts like off the top of my head. Yeah, getting just oxygen from seawater would be pretty darn easy. Having an electrolysis process, little too easy. The trouble is getting rid of the CO2, really. But yeah, having it be a living ship sort of thing where it brings in the seawater and the sunlight and the CO2 from you, and it generates the oxygen and the glucose, and then consumes the glucose to fuel either the lights or the engines or whatnot. I like that idea. Having this ferrosilicate glass for viewing, great. We just need to make sure it can stay underwater for a long time and not get crushed. We might want some sort of food processing such that it can take in marine life and turn it into some sort of pink slime. And if any of you guys have ideas for what else a submarine would need, feel free to let me know. I like input. Poop into food. If you wanted to do waste product neutralization, I guess. Yeah, oxygen not included, definitely. It is very much that. So yeah, we need 3 more puzzles for this overall story, and I'm fairly confident we can get them. And they'll likely all be easier than photosynthesis was. But I love the idea of having something educational like this, where you can see how you would take these two things using a simple machine, turning them into what plants turn it into. And look into the difficulties and look into the symmetries, the balance, how nice it is, how terrible it is. And just get that really visceral feel for what science is really like. Well, there's the water element, but if you go back to Hangover Cure, it's just water. You're constructing water, because you're not making salt water, and this is not actually distilled water, because distilled water has less than normal water. So we're using this as a metaphor for oxygen and hydrogen. And so we're being metaphorical with the elements. Now, this isn't necessarily consistent across all puzzles, but at least this one gives you some amount of just metaphorical stuff we can work with on a chemical level. Like precision machine oil. I mean, this water is representing some sort of fluid, but it could be, I don't know. I don't really know if it stands up to scrutiny across all of the puzzles, but we at least had that one example of this being water. And so we stick with it. At least I stick with it, because we needed something to represent oxygen and hydrogen when trying to build glucose. And that's just the way I work. I like that sort of internal consistency with my magic. It doesn't just come out of nowhere. So, yeah, we've got these 2. We'll work on getting 3 more for our submarine story. And then after that, we'll probably go back to solving puzzles or working through the workshop or something. We might even do that before we do the other 3 puzzles. And then I really do love this game, so it wouldn't be at all surprising if I just keep making more sets of puzzles. Yeah. But also, I do work with people who teach teachers. So this photosynthesis thing could be a great way to sell this game to people who are trying to teach programming or chemistry or just about any of the science things that people really want people to be teaching. I haven't played Space Chem yet. I really need to get that and play that a bit too. But Space Chem, from what little I know about it, is harder to get into than this is, which is probably good too, because it most likely has more challenging puzzles as well, like more challenging ways of getting to the end. But this I found to be rather accessible to people who haven't had the programming experience. But someday I will get around to playing Space Chem, and then I might be able to sell that to them as well. Ah, tons of constraints in Space Chem, I see. Yeah, I love the freedom of this one, and that also is good for the pedagogical purposes, is that it's not just you find your way to the answer the way they expect you to get to the answer. No, you're given some stuff, all the freedom in the world, and you need to get to the end. And then within all of that freedom, you make constraints for yourself, which is super important for being a functional member of society. You need to make your own constraints, or else things start falling apart in your life. But that's a story for another day. My alarm has gone off. I do need to get going despite it being Friday, and I probably could just stay longer. I've got some stuff that I do want to get done, and I need to resist watching The Punisher, so I should probably get to them before all of my willpower is gone. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, or whatnots, you can go to any of my videos on YouTube and leave a comment. I do read all of the comments and respond to most of them. There's links to my Twitter and my Discord down in the doobly-doo, no matter which platform you're on. So yeah, that's available to you for comments, concerns, pictures, comments, your own personal puzzles, your own solutions saying, hey, you could do this better. I'd love to see them. Those are all the various places you can contact me. There is a chance I'll be streaming more this weekend, but it will likely not be Opus Magnum. If I do stream this weekend, it's more likely to be something I've been meaning to play, but I haven't gotten around to it. So either playing more Mario World, getting into Spelunky, playing a bit of Gungeon or Nuclear Throne, one of those roguelikes possibly. I could do some grinding in Hollow Knight, because I have a lot of money that I need to make in that game. But there are lots of things that I want to play that I just never get around to, and my wife is out of town at the moment, so aside from doing some errands, got all the time in the world. So I don't know what time that'll be. I don't know if it'll happen, but keep an eye out on your notifications. They'll let you know if and when I go live. I'll also try to announce it significantly beforehand on Discord and possibly on YouTube as well. But thank you all for being here. Thank you everybody who really interacted with these puzzles. And I will see you in the next live stream or video of Opus Magnum or The Binding of Isaac or Spelunky or who knows what, with light.